When Hall of Fame NBA coach Phil Jackson was asked which player he would choose first overall for his own personal dream team, he paused for a moment to think it over. When you know the players he's coached, his need to step back and reflect is easy to understand. We're talking Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, and the list goes on. These are not just good players. These are some of the best athletes in history. Michael and Kobe are often considered the best basketball players ever. But thinking back over his career and some of the most talented rosters any coach has ever had, Jackson chose none of them. He chose a center from the 1960s, the dark ages of NBA history, named Bill Russell, who averaged only 15 points a game. Being something of an NBA fan, I completely agree with him. Why? Because Bill Russell is the greatest winner and one of the greatest people in the history of American sports. He won 11 championships and also won the admiration of teammates and opponents alike throughout his career. Everyone who loves basketball and knows the history of the game loves Bill Russell. And I think I can make you like him too, by sharing one brief story that even die-hard fans have probably never heard. The only reason I know this story is because it's from my hometown of Marion, Indiana. From the one time that Bill Russell happened to visit there. He was in town to play an exhibition game against the Pistons, who were at the time still the Fort Wayne Pistons. Of course, Marion was so thrilled to host the great Boston Celtics that the mayor presented their leader, Russell, with a key to the city in a lavish ceremony downtown. Later that night, Russell went out for dinner with teammates Sam Jones, K.C. Jones, and Carl Braun, two of whom were African American, like Russell. Braun, the one white man in the group, later recounted what happened.
The place sat about 40, but there was like 10 people inside. The hostess looked at us and said, "All tables are reserved." All the bar stools were empty, so we started walking in that direction. Then she said, "Sorry, those are reserved too." We got the message and left.
Animosities and anti-Semitism, and he and Russell would talk about that, and it was something that they shared and gave Red perhaps an insight and understanding that was unusual for most coaches in the NBA at the time, but respect for, because Russell said he always treated us like, and would walk through hell in a gasoline suit for that man, but the way that they felt about Red and his support for the issues that they faced, not just on the court, but off the court in American society in the 1960s as African Americans.
Red was awesome too, way ahead of his time. The first NBA coach or executive to draft a black player, and the first to have an all-black starting lineup in 1964. And when Red retired, he made his favorite player, Bill Russell, the first ever black head coach in NBA history, way back in 1966. Once you become aware of Russell, you start to see him in unexpected places. Sometime go back and look at a picture of Muhammad Ali from the so-called Ally Summit in 1967. On his right shoulder, sitting in front of Martin Luther King Jr., there's another man who looks somehow equally imposing. That's Bill Russell. In another photo, you see a giddy Barack Obama reaching up to put the Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in America, around his hero's neck. Again, Bill Russell. But for me, the most unexpected place will always be this story from the courthouse, a few blocks from my house. It's such a great story, with a lesson for all of us. We live in a time with much ado about grand symbolic gestures. There's a lot of banners, a lot of signs and slogans. There's parades and paintings in the street. All of this is relatively easy compared to the hard work of actual change. Sometimes it's nothing more than the equivalent of handing someone a big useless, quote, key to the city. The Russell story reminds us that if you are going to go through the pomp and circumstance of handing out a key to your city, you have to first be sure to change the locks. First, change your culture, and also change your heart.